There's a myth that power belongs to those who speak the loudest, that the ones who take the mic, own the stage, or command the room are the ones who shape the world. But what if I told you that power, real, undeniable power, doesn't come from the volume of your voice, but from the weight of your presence? Silence is often misunderstood. It is mistaken for passivity, for a lack of confidence, for an absence of thought or power. In a world that rewards those who speak the loudest, silence can feel like a disadvantage. But silence is not weakness. Silence is not absence. Silence is strength in its purest form. It is a tool that, when used with intention, carries more power than 1,000 spoken words. A silent woman is not a woman without thoughts, ideas, or influence. She is a woman who understands the weight of her presence. She knows that power is not about demanding attention, but about commanding it effortlessly. She has nothing to prove because her actions, her decisions, and her unwavering presence do the speaking for her. While others rush to fill the space with noise, she observes, she listens, she absorbs everything around her, gathering knowledge that others miss in their haste to be heard. There is a unique kind of power in restraint. In a world that encourages impulsive reactions, the ability to remain composed and choose when to speak is a rare strength. Silent women understand that speaking simply for the sake of speaking diminishes the impact of their words. Instead, they wait for the right moment. When they finally do speak, their words carry a depth and weight that demand attention. People lean in. They listen more carefully. Because a voice that is not always heard is a voice that is valued when it finally emerges. Silence is also a source of resilience. It allows space for thought, for processing emotions, for strategic action rather than impulsive reaction. When faced with adversity, the silent woman does not waste time arguing or justifying herself. She does not allow herself to be drawn into meaningless debates. Instead, she channels her energy into progress. She moves forward with quiet determination, letting her results be her response. She understands that true strength is not in proving herself to those who doubt her, but in staying true to who she is and what she stands for. People often mistake silence for submission. They assume that a woman who does not speak up in every conversation is a woman without a voice. But silence is not about staying in the background or allowing others background. It is about knowing when to step forward and when to hold back. It is about choosing battles wisely. Not every situation requires words, some require action, and some require nothing at all. A silent woman knows that she does not need to be loud to be heard. There is an undeniable magnetism in someone who does not need to constantly assert themselves. When a silent woman enters a room, she does not demand attention. And yet attention finds her. Her presence alone shifts the energy. People sense her confidence, her certainty, her quiet power. She does not need to explain herself because she embodies everything she stands for. Silence also fosters self-awareness. In a world that encourages constant noise and external validation, the ability to sit with one's own thoughts is a form of power. It allows for clarity, for deeper understanding, for self-trust. A silent woman does not seek approval through endless words. She knows herself deeply. And because of that, she is not easily swayed by the opinions of others. She does not need to be the loudest person in the room to know that she belongs there. The world often underestimates silent women. It assumes that if they are not speaking, they are not thinking, planning, or not thinking. But they are always listening. They are always observing. And when the time comes, they make their impact in ways that cannot be ignored. Silence, when used with intention, is a force stronger than words. It does not need permission. It does not seek validation. And it does not beg for recognition. It simply exists, powerful, undeniable, unshakable. Presence is an unspoken language. It is not about how loudly one speaks or how much space one takes up in a room. It is about the energy one carries, the way one holds themselves, and the way people feel in their presence. A woman who understands the power of presence does not need to raise her voice to be noticed. She does not need to announce her worth to be valued. She simply is, and that is enough. There is something magnetic about a woman who walks into a room with quiet confidence. She does not demand attention, yet attention naturally gravitates toward her. She does not rush to fill the silence, yet her presence fills the space in a way that is impossible to ignore. People sense her strength, her certainty, her unwavering belief in herself. It is not arrogance. It is not dominance. It is a calm assurance, an unshakable understanding of who she is and what she stands for. In a world that rewards noise, presence is a silent power. It does not require validation. It does not seek permission. It exists firm and steady, regardless of whether anyone acknowledges it. A woman who has mastered presence understands that she does not need to be the loudest to be the most influential. She does not need to constantly prove herself because her actions, her demeanor, and her very existence speak for her. People respond to presence in ways they do not even realize. It commands respect without asking for it. It shifts the dynamics of a room without force. It influences conversations, decisions, and perceptions without a single word being spoken. When a woman carries herself with purpose, others take notice. When she moves with intention, others pay attention. When she listens before she speaks, her words carry more weight when they finally emerge. Presence is not about perfection. It is not about fitting into expectations or molding oneself to be more acceptable to the world. It is about authenticity. A woman with presence knows who she is, and she does not waver in that knowledge. She does not shrink to make others comfortable, nor does she exaggerate herself to prove a point. She exists fully, unapologetically, and in doing so, she gives others permission to do the same. There is a stillness in true presence that is more powerful than chaos. It is a quiet confidence that does not need to announce itself. It does not need to be explained, defended, or justified. It simply is. A woman who understands her presence does not rush to fill silences with words. She does not react impulsively to seek approval. She trusts that her presence is enough, that her energy speaks louder than any argument she could make. People are drawn to those who exude presence because presence feels like certainty. In a world full of distractions and uncertainty, a person who is fully present is rare. They are not thinking about how they are being perceived. They are not crafting their next response while someone else is speaking. They are here in this moment, completely engaged, completely aware. That kind of presence is powerful. It makes people feel seen. It makes people feel heard. It makes people feel that something important is happening, even when nothing is being said. A woman with presence does not chase attention, yet she receives it. She does not compete for space, yet she occupies it fully. She does not force her way into conversations, yet when she speaks, her words resonate. Her presence is not in how much she says, but in how much she understands. It is in the way she carries herself, the way she listens, the way she moves through the world with quiet certainty. It is in the way she stands firm in her truth, unshaken by the noise around her. Listening is often seen as a passive act, something that happens in the background while more important things take place. But true listening is not passive, it is powerful. It is an art, a skill, and a superpower that few truly master. In a world where everyone is speaking, where voices overlap and compete for attention, the one who listens holds the real power. A woman who listens does not just hear words, she understands the emotions behind them, the intentions within them, and the unspoken truths that linger between them. Most people listen to respond. They are not truly absorbing what is being said, they are simply waiting for their turn to speak. But a woman who listens deeply listens to understand. She is not rushing to insert her opinion or prove a point. She is not distracted by the need to be right. She is fully present, taking in every detail, every pause, every shift in tone. She listens with her eyes, with her body language, with her entire being. And in doing so, she gains an advantage that few people ever realize. A great listener earns trust effortlessly. People gravitate toward those who make them feel heard, because to be heard is to be valued. A woman who listens is a woman who makes others feel seen, understood, and respected. She does not have to force her way into conversations because people naturally open up to her. They know that when they speak, she will not dismiss their words or interrupt their thoughts. They know that she is not just hearing them, she is truly listening. And in that, she becomes someone people rely on, confide in, and respect deeply. Listening allows for wisdom to grow. When a woman listens more than she speaks, she absorbs knowledge from every conversation, from every perspective, from every interaction. She does not rush to give her opinion because she understands that there is more to learn in silence than in speech. She gathers insights that others miss, notices patterns that others overlook, and understands people on a level that words alone cannot reach. She is not distracted by noise, she is focused on meaning, and because of that, she makes better decisions, builds stronger relationships, and moves through the world with a depth of understanding that others struggle to attain. Power is often associated with speaking being the loudest, the most commanding, the most dominant. But true power is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. A woman who listens holds her words until they are necessary, and when she finally speaks, people listen. Her words carry weight because they are not spoken carelessly. They are chosen with intention, shaped by the wisdom she has gained through listening. She does not waste words trying to be heard because she knows that her silence has already made people pay attention. Listening is also a tool for influence. A woman who listens understands what people truly want, what they fear, what drives them. She can navigate difficult conversations with ease because she is not just responding to surface-level words, she is addressing the deeper needs beneath them. She can diffuse conflict without raising her voice, solve problems before they escalate, and inspire change without forcing it. People feel drawn to her because they know she understands them in a way few others do. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the listener is the one who truly holds power. She moves through conversations with purpose, absorbing more than she reveals, choosing her words with care. She does not need to be the loudest voice in the room because she understands that the strongest presence is not always the one that dominates, but the one that understands. While others fight to be noticed, she is quietly shaping the world around her, one conversation at a time. Words can be powerful, but they are meaningless without action. Promises, intentions, and declarations only carry weight when they are backed by something real. Action is what separates those who talk about change from those who create it. It is what turns ideas into reality, what builds trust, what defines character. A woman who understands the power of action does not waste time convincing people of what she can do, she simply does it. She does not need to announce her plans, defend her choices, or seek validation for her path. She moves forward, lets her results speak for themselves, and allows her work to be the loudest thing in the room. People listen to words, but they believe in actions. A person can say they are kind, but it is how they treat others when no one is watching that truly defines them. Someone can claim to be strong, but it is how they respond to adversity that reveals the truth. Words can create an illusion, but actions reveal reality. A woman who acts rather than just speaks is someone who cannot be ignored. She does not need to demand respect because her consistency, her discipline, and her commitment naturally earn it. She does not engage in empty debates or waste energy proving herself. She understands that action is the ultimate proof, the final argument, the undeniable evidence of who she is. There is a reason why the most inspiring people are not always the ones who speak the most. They are the ones who show up, do the work, and let their actions carry the message. A woman who leads by action does not chase recognition. She does not wait for permission. She does not hesitate because she is afraid of failing. She knows that words can be forgotten, but actions leave a mark. She knows that the world does not change through speeches alone. It changes when people stand up and do something. Trust is built through action. People may listen to what someone says, but they only trust what they consistently do. A woman who follows through on her commitments, who keeps her word, who shows up when she says she will, becomes someone others rely on. She does not have to convince people of her reliability because her actions make it clear. She does not make excuses because she knows that excuses do not build trust, only action does. Action also has a ripple effect. One act of courage inspires another. One small step forward can create momentum that leads to massive change. A woman who chooses to act rather than just speak becomes a force that cannot be ignored. She sets a standard, challenges expectations, and proves that real progress is not made in conversations alone, but in the effort that follows them. She understands that waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect approval only leads to stagnation. She moves even when it is difficult, even when it is uncertain, even when no one else is willing to go first. People may doubt words, but they cannot argue with results. A woman who builds, who creates, who follows through, leaves no room for doubt. She does not need to explain her potential, she realizes it. She does not need to argue about what she is capable of, she demonstrates it. She does not need to convince anyone of her strength, she proves it through the way she moves through the world. Actions reveal priorities, discipline, and character. They shape reputations, break barriers, and define legacies. A woman who understands this does not waste her energy on empty words. She does not need to be the loudest voice in the room. She is too busy doing the work, making things happen, and becoming the undeniable proof that actions speak louder than words. In a world that moves fast, where conversations overlap, where responses are expected instantly, the pause is often overlooked. People rush to speak, to fill silences, to prove they are engaged. But true mastery is not in speaking the most, it is in knowing when to pause. A woman who understands the power of the pause does not fear silence. She does not rush to fill every gap with words. She knows that in stillness there is power. In restraint, there is strength. In the space between words, there is influence. The pause is not hesitation. It is not a sign of uncertainty or weakness. It is control. It is the ability to hold space, to command attention without forcing it, to create anticipation without demanding it. A well-timed pause makes people listen more closely, think more deeply, and feel more intensely. It is the moment before something important is said. It is the breath before a decision is made. It is the space that allows emotions to settle, clarity to form, and impact to be felt. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They associate it with awkwardness, with a lack of confidence, with a need to fill the air with something, anything. But those who understand the power of the pause know that silence is not empty. It is full. It holds weight. It carries meaning. A woman who has mastered the pause can walk into a room and say nothing, yet still everyone notices her presence. She can take a moment before responding, and in that moment, people will wait, knowing that whatever comes next will matter. The pause allows for thought. It prevents unnecessary words, careless reactions, and impulsive decisions. It creates space for true understanding. A woman who embraces the pause listens more deeply, observes more closely, and responds more intentionally. She does not speak simply because there is an opportunity to do so. She speaks when she has something worth saying. And because she does not waste words, when she does speak, people listen. Beyond conversations, the pause is a tool for self-awareness. In moments of frustration, it prevents regret. In moments of doubt, it allows reflection. In moments of pressure, it creates clarity. The ability to pause before reacting, before making a choice, before allowing emotions to take control is a quiet but undeniable strength. It is the difference between reacting and responding, between noise and wisdom, between chaos and composure. A woman who has mastered the pause understands timing. She knows that not everything requires an immediate response. She knows that silence can make a statement louder than words ever could. She knows that sometimes the most powerful thing she can do is stop, breathe, and let the moment settle before moving forward. She does not operate on urgency alone. She operates with intention. People remember what is said after a pause. It carries more weight because the silence before it creates space for anticipation. It forces the listener to lean in, to engage more deeply, to pay attention. A woman who uses the pause effectively does not need to repeat herself. She does not need to raise her voice. She allows the pause to do the work, to create impact, to make her presence felt without forcing it. The world teaches people to speak quickly, to react instantly, to prove themselves constantly. But the one who can pause, who can wait, who can hold space without fear, is the one who truly understands power. She does not rush to be heard because she knows that when the moment is right, she will be. She does not fear silence because she knows that within it lies strength. She moves with intention, she speaks with purpose, and she understands that sometimes the most powerful statement is the one that is not rushed, but carefully, deliberately, and confidently placed. Leadership is often associated with visibility. People assume that to lead means to stand at the front, to command attention, to be the loudest voice in the room. But true leadership is not about being seen, it is about creating impact. It is about influence that does not demand recognition, guidance that does not seek validation, and strength that does not require applause. A woman who leads without the spotlight does not need external acknowledgement to know the weight of her presence. She understands that leadership is not about taking up space, but about making space for others. There is a quiet power in the kind of leadership that does not chase attention. It is not driven by ego, but purpose. A woman who leads in this way does not step forward for the sake of being noticed. She steps forward when it is necessary, when it serves something greater than herself. She is not concerned with credit because she is focused on results. Her goal is not to be the most celebrated, but to be the most effective. She does not waste energy proving her worth because her actions already speak for her. A leader without the spotlight builds people up instead of placing herself at the center. She does not seek control, but creates an environment where others can thrive. She listens more than she speaks, knowing that true influence is not about having all the answers, but about empowering others to find their own. She does not operate from a place of insecurity, needing constant validation to feel significant. She knows that real leadership is measured not by how many people follow her, but by how many people she helps rise. She is the one who moves things forward without needing to be at the front of the room. The one who makes the crucial decision, sets the direction, and ensures progress without demanding recognition. She does not need to make her presence known because her impact is felt regardless. She is not threatened by the success of others, but inspired by it. She understands that leadership is not about being indispensable, but about creating something that lasts beyond her. When the spotlight is absent, all that remains is substance. A leader who does not seek attention is driven by something deeper than personal ambition. She is not performing for an audience. She is doing the work. She does not chase titles, praise, or approval. She does what needs to be done because it matters, because it creates change, because it moves things in the right direction. The world often overlooks those who lead in this way, mistaking quiet strength for passivity, humility for a lack of ambition. But a woman who leads without the spotlight does not need the world's acknowledgement to know the value of what she brings. She does not measure her success by how much attention she receives, but by how much progress is made. She does not seek to be admired, she seeks to make a difference. Her presence is not loud, but it is undeniable. She does not stand on a stage, but her influence is felt in every decision, in every person she has uplifted, in every moment she has shaped without needing to take credit. She does not move for recognition, but for impact. She does not lead for attention, but for change. She is not seen by all, but she is felt by many. And in that, she carries a kind of power that no spotlight could ever provide.